Bon après-midi, Madame et Monsieur, and welcome to a little walk and talk on a Sunday afternoon while I'm out sticking a few of these up. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's had a nice weekend hitherto, and I hope everybody's ready for the upcoming week. I'm all well, thank you very much. I find myself to the rear of this rather large building here. This is the Shelley Manor Clinic in Boscombe, named after Mary Shelley, who of course famously, allegedly, wrote Frankenstein. Anywho, on the front of that there's an entrance, of course, with sliding doors and stuff like that, so I went and stuck a flyer on there. I'm sure they don't mind, and if they do, well, it's just tough, isn't it? Because if they pull it off on Monday and take it off, I shall stick another one on, and another one, and another one. Yeah, you never know. It is an NHS building. So, but that aside, I'm going to take a little walk. I'll swing round because I'm in a nice part of Boscombe. This is a gorgeous sort of little bit of field area outside the back of the clinic that I just said there, mentioned there. And if we go this way, it's a nice little picturesque walk with a bit of breeze and a bit of shade to the water. And I can then mention a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you, a couple of announcements and a couple of expressions of thanks. So I may as well crack on with that. First of all, I just wanted to mention my last video that I put out, which was called, the actual one that I did, which is called the Mocha News. It was quite a long one. It went on for about 20 minutes. But, you know, I was making my usual point about the narratives and the media and all that, because, you know, anybody who knows me well knows that I, of course, have a bee in my bonnet when it comes to the media, because without them, all this collapses and we'd be much better off. But, you know, that is, for me, clear and obvious. You know, just like clear and obvious for me is horizontal doesn't bend. That, for me, is not being clever or being pedantic or being, I don't know, bored and too much time on my hands. No, it's just an observation. It's not really a huge issue, really, apart from those who it's an issue for, it seems. But anyway, I was talking about a few things on there about narratives, you know, things like the cyclone and the over Central Asia, Bangladesh, Myanmar area, and I was talking about wars, in inverted commas, small w, and also elections in Turkey and that sort of stuff, and just taking a bit of a sort of more of a satirical, not even satirical, no, just a more sort of flat, straight view of it all. But anyway, so I just wanted to kind of recap on that and just mention that's why I took my time around it a little bit, because I sectioned a bit of that news item and called it the nonsense news, because, you know, let's face it, every time you turn any gadget on, not just TV, you know, the chances are you're bombarded with some sort of nonsense. You have to go looking, don't you? Anyway, so that was just the Mocha News. Since then, I also put out a promo, a 2.5 minute promo, I think it was, and that was from Mark Sargent. So I'd like to thank Mark for the promo, very kind of you. The music is by a chap called Alex, who happens to be a friend, and who I've met in when I was on the tour in Spain, actually. Very, very talented musician, has produced some magnificent work. I'm not just saying that because I regard him as a friend, but it's just a fact, again. And, you know, as I always say, if you don't believe me, check it out yourself, and you can do. Go and check him out under Conspiracy Music Guru, Flat Earth Man, anything like that. Go online and check him out. He has done some amazing stuff. So that is the music that you're hearing in the background of Mark Sargent's promo for the upcoming vigil next Saturday. So thank you to them. While we're on the topic of thanking people, I'd like to also thank Mike James John, for helping with the promo and doing it, and did a very, very good job. Hit a nerve, certainly made me feel in a certain way when I watched it. And so I'd like to just thank him for that, because it struck a chord, and it's exactly the message that is apparent, isn't it? It's not one we're coming up with. It's apparent. It's there. So the moment is now. The time is absolutely right for us to get together and talk about that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks to Mike, thanks to Mark, thanks to Alex, and thanks to everybody who pays attention to these things, having had the said people putting in their efforts and time and everything to do it in the first place. You know, there are a lot of people doing bits and bobs here, there and everywhere. Unfortunately, we don't own the BBC, we don't own the main airwaves, let's say, right? So we ain't ever going to be able to compete on that level. So the only thing we have left really is internet, or my preferred option is to get out there, white to the eyes, and talk to people. So that's why the initiative and promoting it and putting it out there, I think, is of importance, because that's where it's at the end of the day. And that's exactly what they're trying to interrupt and end, really, is that interaction between us. It's working a treat up to now. Let's have it right. It really is, you know. There are various trajectories being veered off on. I'm noticing, even within so-called communities. You know, there appears to be a lot of people not on the same page on many, many different topics. So yeah, while everyone was looking towards one particular elephant in the room, many other things have worked their magic. You know, but I'm not going to harp on that. Anyway, I also today put up a few photos, another little batch of photos from my time in Portland. No, from when I was in Portland a couple of weeks ago with Mike. It wasn't a day like today, unfortunately, but hopefully I will catch another day like today, weather-wise, and because I really want to go down there again. Out of the stones and all the stuff, well, I call them stones, we call them stones, but whatever they are, rock-like formations and all that sort of stuff. And so I put another sort of 10 pictures up. I can't explain them, but there is a vast selection of them there, and it's just mysterious. I've not even looked at Chattel Beach yet, and that in itself is a phenomenon. But yeah, so I posted that as well, and also on Instagram, so if anybody's interested, take a look at that. Oh yeah, what I was also going to say was that the vigil on the 27th will be live streamed. I will be live streaming it on Facebook at 2 p.m. So hopefully we'll also be able to get some footage together and compile like a bit of a recap, like a review video at some point as well. But things are going well. We're kind of basically just waiting for one thing to happen now, and then that's it. We're pretty much sorted for next Saturday. So looking forward to that, actually. And of course, you know, it gives us, like myself and my friend Mike were talking about, it gives us a chance to also get together and meet up and sort of reconnect and things like that, because there's quite a few people I haven't seen for a while, you know, and a lot of stuff has happened, you know, let's be honest. Anyway, so I hope I haven't double explained that now, and if I have, well, oh well. Did I mention the Flat Earth Social? If I did, then fine. If I didn't, then I will mention it again. It is on the 30th of May, Tuesday the 30th of May, in the Pavilion Arms in Bournemouth. Special guest David Weiss will be beamed down by Scotty from the USS. That's all we're going to call it, just the USS. And he will be attending to the group's questions and maybe even presenting something. Who knows? I don't know exactly. So I'll look forward to being nicely surprised. So that's on the 30th of May, Tuesday, 1900 hours, the Pavilion Arms. And if you like any more information on that, then do contact me or Ian Leahy. You know, and the only reason I'm saying that is because they're the two contact details that I know you can get. There's other people I'm sure you can contact, of course. But they were the two that sort of sprang to mind. Yeah. By the way, that in the background there is the Isle of Wight, and the bit where the sun is shining on it that looks a bit like the White Cliffs of Dover. That is 14 miles away. Just thought I'd mention it. Yeah. So that is the Flat Earth Social. Now, I'm not going to harp on any other topics that I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about one or two things, but I thought, I don't want to get myself bogged down in philosophizing nonsense, so I'm not going to bother. I have said my thanks to those who I wanted to say thank you to, so that is important to me. Yeah, just trying to think out loud. Nope, that is about it. On a personal note, by the way, it is my last week in Boscombe, and I'll be moving most likely probably just after the vigil, actually. So it's also a bit of a surreal time of my life, because an important chapter comes to an end for me on a personal level, without going into detail here. But, you know, I came to Bournemouth under certain circumstances, and I've lived in this place since. And so leaving there now, yeah, is quite a significant step for me. But, you know, those who know me will know the backstory a little bit. They know what I'm on about. I mean, there's nothing massively sinister behind it or anything like that. You know, I'm not a drugs baron on the run. I paid the police off too well for them to leak that information out. But, you know, it's just certain things happen in life, and then you realise that you either outgrow a situation, or an opportunity comes along disguised as something else, and you have to identify it and then take it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, all these little signs that you see in life, as it were, they come in different kind of ways, don't they? They don't come obviously to us. Well, that's how I see it anyway. But then, I like the colour blue. Not everyone does. But yeah, so that's where I'm at, sort of on my personal level. That, of course, has you know, been taking up some thought space naturally, along with one or two other things, of course, that I shan't divulge here, because I certainly won't be the only person, you know, who has their reasons to whinge, at least from their perspective. Okay, well, there we go. Harping on far too much there. No one cares. Not that you lot do or don't, but what I'm saying is, you know, generally speaking, when you talk about stuff, the amount of times I've been asked, are you all right? And when I've said yes, great, we move on. And then when I've said no, but then we still move on. There isn't really much you can do about anything when it comes to that. You can share your stuff a little bit, and I do, but that's not to be disrespectful. It's just that nobody can help. Not that they don't care per se, because they're not caring, but you know, how much time have you got left to care for other stuff when you're too busy trying to sort your own stuff out? You know, it becomes really, really tricky. And I really learned that in the last 4 or 5 weeks. The amount of people who were telling me they cared and were telling me they were helping, and I wasn't seeing it. You know, I wasn't seeing it. Certainly wasn't experiencing it. And so that is one of the things that I learned very much. I mean, I remember as a kid, you know, my dad used to say things to me like, you know, don't be relying on your friends. Your friends aren't going to pay your way when you leave school and all that sort of stuff, you know, which is, yeah, of course. You have to, you know, you have to make sure that you sort yourself out in life. But, and here's the big but for me, it's the superficial stuff that gets me down. And so, you know, I do ask and reach out a little bit, because I know if someone reached out to me and asked for help, I would be there for them. I might not be able to support them financially, but I can certainly offer my time and my energy, and I'm a good listener and things like that, right? Unless you keep repeating the same stuff to me all the time, and a few years in you're not noticing, then you might get a more abrupt response from me. But normally speaking, I'm quite an approachable person. And because I kind of expect that from others, I often feel quite disappointed around it, because it's never really, barring 2 or 3 people, truthfully, it's never really reciprocated. And that is the bit that's a little bit demoralising for me, if I'm totally honest. But again, you know, that's the way it is. Okie dokie. Well, anyway, I've taken up enough of your valuable time. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And while you're at it, get a quick ruler and put it across your screen and just check if that horizon is really flat. And I hope you get into your week well. And Larry sends his regards, of course. He's looking forward to the movie. He can't wait. You know, he'll have different angles to admire. But yeah, so on that note, from a lovely sunny Boscombe, bit breezy but beautiful, I will see you all soon, some of you sooner. Take it easy, and ta-ta for now. Au revoir.